What's happening, you handsome bastards? I hope everybody had a good Christmas. I hope yous are all good. This is a real quick intro to episode 39 of the Road podcast. I shot this morning, so today is Sunday, the 28th of December, and I shot this morning down on a beach in Blackwater, which was, I went down at let's say 7 a.m. in the pitch dark and done a walk. I wanted to create an atmosphere for this episode where you guys come on a walk with me down the beach. I'm not mixing the audio of the waves out. I think it's real cool. From an audio perspective, it's like you're walking with me. I just wanted to create a real chilled one for this. I know I said I'd do the Puff Daddy episode this week. There was diary complications with my guest, so we're moving that forward, so apologies on that, but I had to sacrifice my hands and feet for this week's episode, so do not dare complain. I had to get the bridge to get onto the beach. There's a small tributary, like a small river crossing, and the bridge was taken down for some reason, so I had to pull my trousers up to my knees, take my runners and socks off and cross the freezing cold river, the rocky river may I add, in my bare feet, just to start the episode in the dark. So it wasn't easy. I took one for the team. I hope yous are all well, and if you're looking at this on Spotify or YouTube, you'll see some cool drone footage for the intro too, which I shot this morning. So look, hope everyone has a good New Year's. Episode 40, 41, 42 are all going to be totally different, so do not worry. Take care of yourselves, people. Much love. Yeah, so I suppose we should start by saying that I hope you all had a good Christmas. That's what it's all about, really, isn't it? Enemy or friend of mine, I hope you had a good Christmas regardless, because I just don't have time to have enemies anymore. There's no productivity in having a long list of enemies these days. So, yeah, I just separate myself from any of that energy if I can. Easier said than done, of course. I like calling people a cunt sometimes myself. I probably still do it on a daily basis. But the aim of the game is to try and reduce that as much as possible. Hey, look at the sun picking up now. Look at that. In the morning seagull. We're getting there now. It's beautiful. But yeah, I mean, I want to start off this Christmas and this year, New Year's, by having good vibes. That's what I'm hoping to do. So yeah, I hope everyone had a good Christmas. Even if you are a cunt. It's been seriously hectic week for me. Like, I think today is a Sunday. You do even forget what day it is, don't you? When you're at the Christmas time, because everyone's off work. You don't even know what day it is. Today is Sunday. Look at that, lad. And last Friday, I believe it was, I was in the studio with Drop Tune. So just over a week ago. But it was a hard day, because I got up at 6 a.m. on that Friday, went training in the gym before work as usual, and then went to work and done an 8-hour shift, so you're fairly burned after that anyway. Then I jumped straight back in the car, had a shower and hit the road and went to Dublin. I went to the studio to meet the lads for say 7:30 p.m. and do a studio session till 11. But it was hard. This was one of the hardest ones, because I think I'm just a bit run down or something. So by the time I got there, I'm in there trying to do some vocals, and I just felt like half the power I normally have. I was like, oh, I don't know what's wrong with me. I just couldn't push anything out when I was trying to go hard on vocals. So I came back into the studio from the recording booth and we were chatting away. And this is the thing about a band, the dynamic. Everyone had different ideas for this specific song, and it's because it's a really good song that everybody thinks it should go different ways, and I understand that. the thing about being in a band long term or managing a band is maintaining good relationships and communication. It can be hard, and I think this was one of the times where myself and the lads had a situation where we were just like pissed off. I don't know if it was with each other or just with the fact that nobody agreed on anything. So we're all kind of sitting there wasting studio time, kind of arguing over what should be on the track and what shouldn't, to the point where the engineer just fucking walked out like, I think I'll leave you to argue amongst each other for a while. And he comes back about 15 minutes later and we're still at it. But anyway, that kind of built up some sort of anger in me, a little bit of rage in me. And we got to the point where I was like, fuck it, Adam, just go in and put some stuff down and see what works. Just throw shit at the wall and see what sticks, kind of vibe. So I went in there with a bit of a mood on me then. And next thing you know, my fucking voice is back to its full throttle, belted out like loads of vocals on the track in a couple of takes. Came back in and we were like, yeah, now we have something to work with. And we were back to being friends again. It's crazy. But it also, what I found interesting about that was 15 minutes prior to that, I felt like I couldn't record any vocals. I didn't have it in me. A couple of arguments later, you turn around and you're like a beast again. Like, it's crazy how much of it is in our head, isn't it? It's crazy. Well, yeah, we ended up finishing that session happy, which was good, because I felt like just going home at about 10 p.m. But we sorted it out. So yeah, that was the start of my crazy week, you know. It's funny though, you'd be shattered, but when you're driving home back to Wexford from Dublin at 12 o'clock at night after being up since 6 a.m, so what we at 18 hours, because you've just done something that creative, it's like you're wide awake again. It's weird. It's weird. But yeah, hopefully you get to hear these tunes soon enough. That is the aim of the game. But if I was to give you guys some tips who are in bands and whatnot, try be friends with these people if you can. Being in a band with people that you're not necessarily friends with, when it gets to testing situations, is going to be excessively hard, and you're probably going to break up the band. You gotta be friends too, because you'll get these moments where you need to pull each other out of a hole. It's funny actually, it's ironic that I'm standing here. This just sprang to mind. It's ironic that I stand here on a beach 3 days after the world was supposed to end, isn't it? If anybody listened to my last podcast episode, you'll know I was referring to that guy in Ghana, Ebo Noah, who claimed that he's a prophet from God, and God spoke to him for the last couple of months and told him that he's going to end the world through a massive tidal flood on the 25th of December, like, so Christmas Day, the world was going to end, just like Noah's Ark. I actually don't know. I don't know my biblical history when Noah's Ark was supposed to happen. But this guy claimed the world was going to end on Christmas Day. This guy obviously took donations to help build the ships and all that malarkey. And this guy obviously is still alive, and the world obviously hasn't ended, and the tidal wave, as you can see here, didn't destroy this beach completely. So the world has not ended. Did destroy the entrance, which I will show you is on the way back. So we have another shiesty snake oil salesman on our hands in that bloke, because I've seen some clips of him in the last couple of days. I seen him driving a Mercedes, which I'm sure he couldn't afford before he became a prophet of God. And I seen him on stage at some Ghanaians, big comedians gig, and this guy came out on stage with a big tidal wave visual behind him and saying God has postponed the end of the world. He spoke to me and he said it's going to be a while further away. Probably send me more money and the world won't end. Karma will get that motherfucker if he is lying to us all, which he evidently is. But yeah, what an odd world we live in, because I actually seen footage of people who had travelled across Africa to meet this guy because they believed in him. So it's kind of cruel what he's done to these people who are so susceptible to his religious preachings. It's pretty shit. How apt is it though? How apt is it that Ebo Noah stood on stage at a big comedian's gig to say all this stuff, because he's been taking the piss out of his own people, really, when you think about it. I don't think that will serve him well in the long run, if you ask me. But it seems that the internet is full of these fakers, man. Full of people who say there's something and then turn around and you see their true colours at some stage eventually, to realise that they're just a bunch of fakers. And this week in particular has exposed a few of them, really, when you think about it. And I would say from a sporting context, but I wouldn't even call it sport. Last week's boxing events were fucking a stain on the face of boxing history. How's that? A stain on the face of boxing history. I grew up watching like Mike Tyson fighting Evander Holyfield and Lennox Lewis, and Steve Collins fighting Chris Eubank in those epic fights, and Chris Eubank fighting Nigel Benn. Epic moments in boxing history. I was lucky enough to see some of them on 14-inch box TVs in people's kitchens. Great crack altogether. And you young people, and people my age too, are now stuck watching YouTubers trying to box at the most expensive and prestigious boxing events in the world. We've got these guys that talk shit on the internet, hit a bag for a couple of months and then get paid 100 million for it. I mean, the most shocking thing about the Jake Paul Anthony Joshua fight, and people are going to attack me going, oh yeah, shitting on a man who got paid 100 million. I don't care how much he got paid. Why is that fight down on the professional records? Why is a heavyweight, a genuine heavyweight, something of a British heavyweight legend in Anthony Joshua, fighting Jake Paul, who is a 5 out of 10 boxer, and respect to him for being a 5 out of 10 boxer, because he's only picked it up in the last 4 years or something. So massive respect, because his work ethic is obviously second to none. But he's about 40 pounds lighter and about 10% the skill level of Anthony Joshua. How can that be a professional bout? That was never a professional bout. That was an exhibition fight. That was a man that could kill another man in one round. That was a lion playing with its food for 5 rounds and then getting pissed off and saying, do you know what? I'm going to close this show now because this is ridiculous. So I have I mean no malice towards Jake Paul or Anthony Joshua, but that was an exhibition, and that was kind of taking the piss out of everybody else who expected to see an actual boxing fight, because it's fairly clear to me that Anthony Joshua was told, do not hurt this guy for a while and you'll get your paycheck. So in the long run, these fights, I know people think I'm overreacting, but in the long run, fights like that will take away from the overall quality of boxing and take away from its legacy, I feel. And as I said previously, I have no hatred towards Jake Paul or anything. I respect him for what he's done, but in the long run, I'm not sure it does boxing any favours when all the eyes and the highlights and the talk of boxing get to put on these guys when the show was so tragic like that. That was tragic. And it took me a few hours to get over that. And then the next day, we had to deal with it even worse. The next day was even worse because the top G himself, Andrew Tate, came out to display his massive skill set. And he suckered me in too. Andrew Tate fighting that guy Chase the Moor. So we have Andrew Tate, successful influencer slash businessman slash kickboxer apparently, getting back in the ring to fight a guy who's famous for some dating show or something, for being good looking, who can honestly throws his punches from behind his back. Like, you gotta see them coming from 6 days ago. But I watched, I tuned in the day after the Jake Paul fight saying, right, well, this one's going to be better. This one's going to be way better. I mean, Andrew Tate's fighting. It's the Cobra they call him. Well. Hey, look, he got in and he tried, but that man can never, ever brag about his physical capabilities again, because he spent most of that fight holding the shoulders of Chase the Moor. That was a hugging match. That was, I don't know what happened to him. I think he lost his nerve in there or something. That was odd. And I respect the guy for what he's achieved in his life, and I think he gets shitted on too easily. I think people judge him before they read him properly. And I actually like some of his motivational talk. But that was embarrassing. That guy should never fight again. That has definitely, oh, we've got some horses here this morning, look. That has definitely, that Andrew Tate versus Chase the Moor fight has definitely affected his brand. It's definitely damaged his brand. Absolutely no doubt about it. That was mediocrity on display on Saturday night last week. And after those two fights, I said to myself, I am done watching influencers or YouTubers box. That's it now, I'm done. I can't be watching that absolute poison anymore. What the hell was that? If anybody can argue with this one on me, I'd be super interested. Andrew Tate and Chase the Moor's fight looked like 3 in the morning in a shitty bar. Two lads that can't even walk straight trying to fight. That's what it looked like. It was nuts. It was crazy. Seriously, Andrew Tate's got black eyes and whatnot, but it's his brand is permanently damaged. The black eyes will heal in a week, but the brand is significantly permanently damaged from an alpha male perspective. So that was all last week's madness. Let's get to this week. Let's get to Christmas, I suppose. I think I said at the start, but I hope everyone had a good one. All the seagulls are out with me now. I hope everybody had a good Christmas. The more Christmases you do and the older you get, the more you realise it's just about spending time with loved ones and that, isn't it, really? And I've had a nice time. I went back to my mum's for dinner and sat with my brother and my sister and the family and the kids and all that. It's cool just to do it, because when you're sitting there, I'm thinking to myself, this happens like once a year. We sit down together and have food, and it's like, how many more of these are left? You know, could be 1, could be 10, could be 4, could be 0. You know what I'm saying? So just gotta try enjoy all this stuff while I can and while we can. You know what I mean? Enjoy whatever we enjoy while we can, and try and actually embrace it, because I am guilty of this myself. You just get caught up doing things like, oh, I need to do this, I need to do that. You're there, but you're not present. Do you know what I mean? You can be physically there, but you're not present. You're just thinking, I'll get this over with and go and do the other thing that I have to do, because life throws a list of chores at you, and sometimes you don't even get to enjoy any of the moments. So this year I'm gonna try and focus on enjoying these moments and these processes, and even when stuff's hard, I'm gonna just see that as a challenge. Do you know what I mean? Because I have this new perspective. Sorry to lean into this, but I have this new perspective, and I always say it to people, because when I say things, it's like I'm putting it out there that that's something I believe. And there's a lot of circumstances in my life, and I'm sure everybody else listening here has circumstances in their life that they don't like. But I am now at the point where I blame myself, and I openly say it to people. I say, well, that's my fault. That's my fault that I'm here, and for example, let's say I've no money in the fucking bank, and I'm getting lens off my sister to make it to the end of the week. That's my fault. That's not my job's fault. That's not my fucking parents' fault. That's not my missus' fault. That's my fault. I chose to get myself into this predicament through the actions I've taken over the last 20 years. This is my baby, you know what I'm saying? So the only way in my mind that I can get better and overcome all these things is if I admit that I'm only in these situations because I put myself in them through lack of action in the past. Most of the time it's that case. Not all the time, but most of the time. So people around me like saying, why'd you keep saying that's your fault? That's why. Because I'm going to fix it now because it's my fault. Do you know what I'm saying? Well, I don't know why I leaned into that topic there whatsoever. What I was saying was, yeah, it's cool. Christmas has been cool for me, and I am trying to enjoy it. Niamh always, every Christmas I feel like a teenager again, because Niamh always gets me stupid amounts of cool presents. Always, like. And every year I'm just like, fuck's sake, man, you got me too much stuff, you know? I could never be her on the present or the gifting side of things. She loves giving people gifts, which is a beautiful trait to have in a person. You know you're with a good person when they're more interested in giving things to other people. But she got me, what did she get me? For example, she got me a drone, because she knows I'm into filming and content creation now. So she got me a drone. So I was out in the garden flying it around the housing estate on Christmas morning like a kid who got their first bike, you know. Bearing in mind I'm 41 now, but it's so cool. She always gets me very thoughtful gifts. I try and do the same for her, but I don't know, I'm not as good at it as she is, I don't think. But again, that ties you back to the whole relationships thing when I spoke about the band. I'm lucky to have a really good relationship with my partner, and we've been together a long time. But much like the band, you got to work on it, don't you? You got to work on it, because you will have them songs or them chapters in life that you're not aligned with, or you're not seeing the same perspectives on, or you don't think it's going the same way, or you think it's gone one way and they think it's gone the other. You'll have those moments and circumstances that occurs on in your relationships, and it's hard, man. It happens to me too. But you get back in the boot and you put something down and you start mixing it and you start working on it. And that's the same with your relationships, I think. You sit down and you try and figure it out together, and then you try things and you work it out. And you'll be back on song in no time, hopefully. It's funny how it's all connected, isn't it? We're just a bunch of fucking cavemen running around in a world that's become overly developed for our brains to deal with. And hence, that's why sometimes I'm on a beach trying to just reset, because this is old caveman shit right here, but listen to those waves. My dream house or home, which I would love to have one day, and maybe I fucking will, is to have a house on a cliff's edge, higher than this now hopefully, like a big cliff's edge, have a house on it with a full, either a balcony or a full glass room where I can just watch this kind of stuff. You know, on a stormy day I can just watch this, just listen to it. It just kind of helps me reset. That would be my dream home, I think. I don't know where that is. Time will tell, but it'd be nice to have it one day. No way. I think there's someone walking towards me on the beach. I don't know how they got here. Must be another entrance. Anyway, on that relationship thing, I think what presents the challenges, like I was talking about, is that life isn't static. It's always in flux, and things are always changing, and relationships can change with that as well. And if we don't figure out and go flow with that change, I think that's when resistance is met, and that's when we start arguing, and that's when shit starts to hit the fan for people. And this is the kind of stuff they should probably be teaching us in schools and colleges, but they don't. They just go, here's maths, here's algebra, here's history, learn this thing 600 times, know the date of when this so-and-so rebellion happened and whatnot, and then go send you out into the big bad world to figure life out. And we don't. And the pressures of like bills and illness and family struggles, stress and work and finance all start to hit you then, and you're just like, what the fuck, how do I deal with this? And a lot of us deal with it in the most negative ways, don't we? We turn to drink and drugs and fighting with each other and abuse and arguments. Yeah, and I don't blame anyone for that. It's a tricky world to navigate this. It really is. All I know is to try and be stoic, and when I mean stoic, I mean calm, and don't overreact to stuff. Think about things for long periods of time before you decide to take devastating action on them. Before you go and abuse, shouting at your missus that she's this, that and the other, maybe think about things from her context and let her think about things from your context, and hopefully you can sort it out. And that does make me, when I start thinking like this, it does make me reset and show some gratitude to everything I do have and the people are in my life. And it reminds me that sometimes I need to make more phone calls and just ring people and see how they are. Because time just disappears on you, and you're like, it could be Monday and you could be saying, I'll give them a buzz and see how they are. Next thing it's Friday and you haven't done it yet. I'm mad guilty of that. Like, terribly guilty of disappearing off the grid for way too long. So for me, that's one of the things that I need to work on this year, is to communicate more with my friends and family. For sure it's a weakness of mine, for sure. I communicate with the podcast universe more than I communicate with my friends and family, which is not fucking good, Adam. Get your shit together. But yeah, I suppose this is the time, isn't it? This is the time. Everyone's hungover this morning while I'm walking down this beach. This is the time where we all say, right, there's a new year around the corner. I'm going to change this, and my new year resolution is going to be that, and I'm not going to take cocaine anymore, and I'm not going to drink on Wednesdays, and I'm not going to slap my missus, and I'm not going to play the computer as much, and I'm going to go to gym. I'm going to lose this belly, or I'm going to put this muscle on. It's easy, I can do it. I'm going to do it in 2 days' time. I'm going to start. This is the horrible thing. This is the horrible thing, and I know because I've got so much quit in my blood. If you say you're going to do something, you don't take some sort of action towards that goal right after you say it, instantly, then you're not going to do it. That's the truth. And I mean, when I say right after I say it, say for example, if I say, right, I'm going to drop 10 pounds between January and March from New Year's, I'm going to do it because I have a wedding coming up and all that shit. If you don't sit down straight after that and start putting a shopping list of healthy foods down for when you're doing the shop in 2 days' time, well, then you're not going to do it. So I would give you the only advice from a super successful person like myself. I mean, you know how much of a big deal I am these days. It would be to actually, if you say you're going to do something, right, actually look at yourself and say, now before I say this to people, well, do I actually want it enough? You have to want it, you know what I mean? You got to really want it for it to happen. So before you go out and say, right, this year I'm going to fucking save 8 grand and I'm going to buy that car or whatever it is, just think to yourself, will I actually do this? Am I actually man enough to do this right now? And I hope you are. And I've got a list of about 10 things that I'm going to try and do. But don't go around saying stuff if you ain't going to deliver on it, because it doesn't matter what other people say or care, think about you, should I say. It's that the inner conflict you will have with yourself when you don't deliver on those things you've promised. Your inner value will drop again. So mean it, like, fucking mean it. If you're gonna do it, like, the common one's the gym, obviously, because it's the novelty of joining the gym seems cool, and because you look at people and go, fuck, he goes to the gym, I want to do that. I want to look like that. But will you do it though? Will you get up at 6 or half 6 in the morning before work? Because that's when everyone has time. The time thing's a fallacy. Everyone has time to do this, right? But can you get up? This is the best time to train. Get up in the morning before everyone else, run down the gym, like drive down the gym, walk the gym, whatever. Get to the gym, join a gym that's close to you. Get to the gym, train, go home, get freshened up, and then go have breakfast and go to work. It's the best way to start your day, but ask yourself, are you willing to do that on these freezing cold, dark mornings? Will you get up? And if you can get up and do it, you'll be a conqueror in no time. If you can actually, it's in the head. This whole game is in the head. I didn't want to get up this morning to come and do this thing, get in the car and drive out here in the dark to do this, because it's fucking cold, man. It was pitch dark. But I got up, and the minute I put my clothes on, I was like, nice one, we're going to do this now. And then I had to cross that river that you couldn't even see because it was so dark. It up to my knees. It was like, motherfucker, I'm going to have to cross it again to get back. But I feel good now, you know, I feel good. I can't feel my hands, but I feel good nonetheless. And the more I think about it, the more I realise the hardest thing to change is your mind and your attitude and your behaviour and your habits. They're the hardest things. They are concrete in your mind. They're so hard to crack and shift position on. We spend our whole life moving around from A to B, from work to school to fucking upstairs, downstairs. But changing our mind state is so hard. That doesn't move much. It's really hard. It gets battered into us at a young age. like our neural pathway and our brain gets mapped from a young age to be whatever way it is, and it's really hard to rub that pathway out and write a new one into your mind. It's the hardest thing. Breaking the bad habits is really hard. I know it is. It's fucking hard. But if that's what you need to aim to do, is to rewire your mind to be comfortable doing uncomfortable things. And uncomfortable things are changing what you eat. It's like, these are just examples. Changing what you eat. When you're hungry, have a fucking apple instead of a Mars bar. It's not as pleasurable. Not drinking on Wednesdays, Thursdays and fucking Sundays. Not getting drunk and fighting with your missus every weekend. Not doing cocaine before you go to the church for a funeral. Not gambling 150 euro of your wages away every week and then killing yourself in your own brain while you lie in bed because you know you have bills to pay. Not fighting with your missus every day. Not ignoring your kids. All that shit that we all have knocking around us. It's so hard to change how we think and how we behave in order to be the person that we want to be, and that is the hard bit. But that anything that's worth having is hard, and I honestly think that if we can figure out, this is a personal journey for everyone, if we can figure out how we do that, if we can figure out how to do that on our own personal level, you'll just become a monster, you know. And I'm not here to give people life guidance, because who am I to give anybody life guidance? I'm in the same boat as everybody else that listens to me. But I'm definitely figuring it out recently. I feel like I'm figuring it out. I'll give you an example. When I stand here on this windy beach, that water looks fucking freezing, right? I can't feel my hands, and I might get into it, because that would be a seriously uncomfortable thing to do right now. So I might just do that, just to show you. Fuck, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna get in. I'm gonna get in, man, because I want to be the person I tell people to be, and I don't want to get in that water right now. I mean, look at my hands. It's fucking cold, and I don't want to get in, but I'm gonna get in. And next week I will have a more organised episode. But I'm just about to go and kill myself in this freezing cold water, so thank you for tuning in. Maybe I should leave this on film, huh? Oh my god, this is gonna be cold. I'm just gonna put the mic down. Wish me luck. That is torture. Don't get me wrong, the waves are so strong. I didn't want to get wiped out. I can't really swim, but man, I can't feel my legs. Anyway, thanks for tuning in to an absolute ridiculously unplanned beach walk podcast, and much respect. I'll see you next week where my shit will be together, I promise. Have a good new year, people. Much love.